I was thinking about how sometimes as people, what happens is choices are made for other things that doesn't take into account what they are and what their choice might be, as though people are the only ones that have the right to make the choice. And I've run into this scenario time and time again when people have said to me, even people will say things like, oh, I'm going to go pick up this rock from a certain place. And my question is, but have you asked the rock if it wants to come with you? Because maybe it's fulfilling a purpose there, and maybe it's where it needs to be, and it got there somehow. So maybe by thinking that we can have a perception of what something should be about, and even where it should be, maybe we're interfering with something that's already on a path to healing in a way we haven't understood. When we connect to things, we connect to the meaning of what they are. We need to move into a form of intelligence where we recognize ourselves, that everything has consciousness, everything has purpose, everything is part of creation. We may not know the magnificent way in which a clam on the beach is helping creation. All we need to know is that a clam on the beach is helping creation, and respect that, and honor that, and not take what that is and turn it into something that we think is what it should be doing.
So we shouldn't turn it into clam chowder. I had to say that. I'm sorry. Why can't you know?
You gotta leave that in.
You took that. You led me there.
The age-old conundrum. You are life and I have to eat you. But you know what? That's an interesting topic. We take something like a clam and turn it into clam chowder. We're really just changing the form of life that it is. Because now it's part of our life. And again, that's about doing it with purpose and intent and love.
Sorry. Okay.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
In other lifetimes, people taught each other that intent is so powerful, it can make your food healthy for you or not. So when we think about treating our food in a humane, honoring way as something that we are going to intake that contributes to our life, how we treat our food sources and what we do with our food sources becomes extremely important. One of the things that shocked me so much in this lifetime is when I came to understand and recognize the feedlot concept and how animals were being treated and then people were being fed them. And that nobody understood what was happening to our food source. And that there was no intent or humanity, a humane activity, into the sharing of life that food is. It was shocking to me that we had become so disconnected from what nourishes us and the meaningfulness of other living things in exchange of life. I don't have words for that. How shocking that is to me, that we can actually treat our food and other living things in such a way and call this modern and call this effective and call this good. It makes no sense to me.
That's a good point.
Mm-hmm.
So with that in mind, let's just talk about genetically modified food, because I'm telling you, to me that's the ultimate horror story. And where we're going with this, is really destroying, like really almost purposely government
Business.
It's business, but it's really, really corrupt business.
Mm-hmm. And
people are, for whatever reason, we talked about connection to the meaning of things. We often see things in the paper. We hear about them. People see what different candidates are representing, and then they vote for them anyway, or they turn a blind eye.
Uh-huh.
So we're so inundated with so many things that we could actually affect change for and don't. So what do you attribute all of that to?
Our world has so many problems in it, and if we start looking at each problem and isolatedly determining how we've got to fix it, it can seem really overwhelming. And that's why it's more important to change the mindset first that is approaching the problems. Because when we have a mind aligned with truth, love, honor, respect, connection to source, the problems now suddenly just look like, oh, problems that I have the solution for, I just have to fit it, instead of, oh, all of these problems. We can look at things like our food source. We can look at how we treat animals and GMO plants and the way that food is packaged and the way that it's sold and all these kinds of things, and just be overwhelmed with problems, problems, problems. Or we can actually look at, so what is a meaningful way to apply love in practicality to any issue that comes to us? And then we find that the problems actually solve themselves. So it makes me laugh sometimes to say we can't deal with each one of the problems that we have to do. We have to deal with changing everybody's mind, because that almost seems overwhelming too, until we recognize that we're part of something where we can change mind with thought. So just by being present and me thinking thoughts of love and truth and connection to God, I'm changing everyone's mind. And if more of us do that, then we're going to change the actual organ that solves the problems. The problems won't seem so insurmountable because we will have the tool to fix them, which we haven't had up until now.